Hey guys, Hades here. This will be Subculture B. Last time we looked at some aspects of subculture. Today we'll look at some more. What other subcultures are you familiar with? Can your job define your subculture? Can there be political subcultures? Can your sexuality define your subculture? Your job can sometimes be a subculture, especially if it is different or not easily understood by many people, or it forces you to constantly be with similar people. Even within a company where people have similar assignments or salaries, subcultures can exist. If you go to work and your differences are not immediately apparent, subcultures may not exist, right? I often don't identify my job with a culture, really, or a subculture. But some jobs, like being a police officer, tend to form subcultures. Many people don't like or trust police officers, so they often tend to spend time with other police officers, even when they're off duty, right? And they certainly, it could be dangerous. So they're sometimes trusting their colleagues with their life, right? So some jobs, and like a soldier too, jobs like that, yeah, that could definitely be a subculture. If you believe in certain politics, it may not be a subculture. But if you spend much of your time associating with others of the same political beliefs, and you often try to argue or promote your political beliefs, it can be a subculture, right? It depends on how much time you spend on it, what you do about it. Everyone's got their own political beliefs. Some people don't let it define them, while other people definitely do let it define them. Okay, guys, we're going to get a little into sexuality here, and this is not a sex channel, and I'm going to just briefly go through this. There's probably a lot more to be said than what I'm going to say. For a long time in many societies, and still today, in some, homosexuality was a subculture. However, many gay people are part of the mainstream now, as it's becoming more and more accepted. Some homosexuals might identify as being part of a subculture, while others may not. Homosexuality might be more mainstream now, but certain groups like transgender people might still feel misunderstood and identify more with being a subculture. Politics also enter LGBT lifestyles, which can make them more of a subculture. This is not a political channel. I don't want to get too much into that. Transgender people may also be referred to as transvestites, transsexuals, ladyboys, T-girls, T-boys. I'm not getting into much of this. Look, this is something you could check out on your own. Not all transgender people want to physically change their bodies. And some people believe that they are gender fluid. Other people believe that doesn't exist. This is not a channel to get into that. More sex stuff. I'm not going to get into too much detail. We'll just quickly go through this stuff. What is sadomasochism? What is a sadist? What is a masochist? What is a Furby? What is a swinger? What is a nudist? Quickly going through this, guys. It's not, I'm not promoting this stuff. This is just, these are subcultures. I'm talking about them a little. Make you more aware of things going on in the world. A sadist is a person who enjoys inflicting pain on others. A masochist is a person who enjoys receiving pain from others. A sadomasochist is one who is involved in one or either behavior, usually with someone else, often sexually. This is a subculture. A Furby, or sometimes a furry, is a person who enjoys dressing up like a stuffed toy. Often these people will get together in large groups or have parties. These gatherings are usually sexual, but sometimes they're not. I don't know much about this, honestly. I don't. A lot of people like to dress up like stuffed animals and they get a sexual pleasure out of it. Others don't. Swingers are people that are usually involved in a relationship, sometimes even married. They usually go together to meet other people, usually couples, for a, fun time. Often they will get together in large groups, like at a party. Nudists or naturists like to hang out without clothing. These people have places they go that are usually outside of public places for legal reasons. Often you're not allowed to take off your clothes in most places. Now this one is usually not sexual, and any sexual behavior is frowned upon and usually not allowed for most nudists. Again, there's some that do it for a sexual reason. Okay, done with that stuff, guys. I thought it's important to mention, but I don't want to dwell on that stuff. All right, what other activities lead to subcultures? What other subcultures are you familiar with? What is a biker? Are there negative subcultures? Again, if you have a minor hobby, it might not be a subculture. But some activity-based subcultures, surfing, skating, gambling, gaming, hiking, etc. If you get together, gambling by the way, if you get together with your friends to play poker once a month, you're probably not part of a gambling subculture. If you are an addict, or you constantly associate with gamblers, then you are probably part of the subculture. This can be negative if it disrupts your life. Some people get kind of addicted to gambling and gamble too much money. Gamble money they shouldn't be gambling. Gambling their rent, right? Gambling their house payments. Other people don't do that. Other people know when to stop, right? But this can be a subculture if you do it enough. Bikers are usually people who like to ride Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Often bikers will join clubs. Many times these are just people who enjoy the biker lifestyle. However, some of them can be part of criminal organizations, right? Some biker clubs are basically gangs or criminals. Others are not. A mafia is traditionally a structured organization of criminals. Originally Italian, we think of the Italian mafia. However, the word can be used to describe any crime organizations, not any crime, let's say some crime organizations, such as the Mexican Mafia or the Irish Mafia. Street gangs are less organized than mafia types. Usually these gangs will commit crimes, but they may not be profiting so much from these crimes. Some gangs are organized well and can be considered organized crime. Others are not. They're just criminals. There are lots of different types of drug cultures. Usually they're legal. But keep in mind, alcohol is a drug too, and a lot of people think that's totally fine, right? Even though it can be more damaging than some other drugs. Some people might do softer drugs to have a good time and might not be as deeply into drugs. Other people might be addicts and they could be more dangerous. But drug culture is a thing. Again, if you've done drugs once or twice, you might not be part of drug culture. If you do it a lot, you might be part of the drug culture. Being homeless can also be a subculture. These people often come from very different social backgrounds, but they get together in communities, sometimes for self-preservation, sometimes because humans are social animals. All right, what other subcultures can you think of? What is a fandom? Are you a fan of anything? Let me know in the comments if you're a big fan of something and you think you're part of that subculture. Fandom is the state or condition of being a fan of something, or it is the fans of a particular person, team, fictional series, etc., regarded collectively as a community or a subculture. What sort of fandom subcultures are there? What is Comic-Con? And bonus points if you know who that is a picture of. Fandom subculture can be traced back to the death of Sherlock Holmes in 1893, when people gathered together to mourn the death of a fictional character. And we've already talked about music subcultures. They're definitely part of fandom subcultures. and also sports cultures or subcultures. Comic-Con is short for Comic Book Convention. Every year, in locations all over the world, fans gather in convention centers to celebrate their favorite comics, sci-fi, fantasy, anime, and superhero franchises, and also to play video games, board games, and even card games. Some fandom subcultures are as follows: Disney, Star Wars, Star Trek, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, the Marvel Universe, DC Universe, even Twilight, Harry Potter, Doctor Who, Vampire Diaries, Hunger Games, the Narnia series, Evil Dead. I like Evil Dead. I like some of these. I like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars as well. Or I like old Star Wars and old Lord of the Rings. There's many, many more. There are many subcultures that we just don't have time to look at, right? Can you think of any more subcultures? What is cosplay? Cosplay is the action of dressing up as a character from a movie, book, video game, comic, or TV series. Cosplay is also dressing up and associating with others who dress up as characters, usually from the same story. Many believe that cosplay originated in Japan and began in 1984. That is certainly when the word cosplay, short for costume play, occurred. However, I think cosplay has been around longer than that. What is the Rocky Horror Picture Show? The Rocky Horror Picture Show is a film that came out in 1975, written by Richard O'Brien based on his play The Rocky Horror Show. It soon became a cult classic. As early as 1976, people were dressing up as the characters and going to the theater to see it. Typically, certain theaters will play it every Saturday night. Other theaters might do it less. Some maybe only around Halloween or once a year at another time. But during the Rocky Horror Picture Show, a lot of the fans that go there dress up as the characters on the screen. And some of them will act out the movie in front of the screen. And people in the audience shout at the screen, almost interacting with the film. What subcultures are you familiar with that I might have missed? What subculture or subcultures do you think you belong to? Would you like to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show? What did you learn today? Okay, guys, that'll do it. That's the end of this one. Thanks so much. Any questions? Please put them in the comments. Any comments or suggestions? Put them in the comments as well. That'll do it. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.